Hi guys, so today we're gonna study macros, okay? So macros, it's small little programs, actually they're subroutines. You create them if you have things that you do many times, the same things, you keep doing them again and again and again. So the macros is simply doing it once, recording it, and then whenever you need it, you just click on a button or run a macro and it does that routine for you, okay? You're gonna understand a little bit better when I show you a draft. Okay, so a macro is a little program. It's created normally using VB, Visual Basic, but in Excel you have Visual Basic for applications, okay? It's for Microsoft Office. It's embedded within your Excel, okay? So we're gonna start step by step and you're gonna understand. It's very easy as long as you follow the rules. First thing, you need a developer tool that you don't have here. Developer, do you see here? It finishes my tabs finish at view, okay? So we need another tab for developers. It's the developer tab. So how do I get it? If you don't have it, you cannot create your macro. Okay, first thing, you're gonna go to the start button, okay? Do you see everything? Yes. Oh, you see the light here. Give me 1 second. I'm gonna turn off the light because you see it and it's no good. Let me see here. Do you still have the light? Yeah, it's the one that's behind me, but I should have checked. Okay, sure enough. Here it is. Do you still see it? No, you don't. That's good. Okay. Sorry for this, guys, but I need you to see what I'm doing. Okay, here, you just go to the start button. You go down here. Do you see it? It's Excel options. For me, it's option Excel. You just click on it. Okay? And in the standard, it's the first thing that comes. You see here, afficher l'onglet développeur dans le ruban, which is show developer in the ribbon, okay? You're just gonna make sure it is selected, okay? Make sure it is selected. If it's unselected, it's not gonna show in the ribbon. Now we're gonna select it and click OK. And you're gonna see that it's gonna show here. Do you see it now? It's here. You need this tab in order to create your macro. Okay? Shall we create a first macro? Well, I already created one, but now I'm gonna do another one with you. So I'm gonna go to a new sheet. You see here? Record macro. I'm just gonna click on it. Okay? It asks me for a name. Draft. This is my draft macro because I'm gonna delete it. And it asks you, do you want a shortcut? So you can create a shortcut for the macro. I'm not gonna do it on my computer. It needs to be a shortcut that doesn't exist. So it's to run it, you can, for example, create Control N. And then when you want to run it, you just go Control N and it's gonna run automatically. But I don't want that on my computer. Okay, here is it tells you where do you want to save the macro, the little program. So here you have options. Okay, the usual thing for us in class is to put it in this workbook, ce classeur, this workbook. We do this at school for the simple reason that you keep the macro within the workbook on which you're working, Okay, so that in exams, for example, you want to save the macro within the workbook. Otherwise, me, the teacher, won't find your macro. Okay? If I don't find it, you have a 0. So you have to do it within this workbook. Otherwise, if you're working at home and you want the macro to be available for you on the computer at all times, it's not going to be within the class, the workbook. It's going to be available for all the workbooks. Okay? So, but for now, I'm just going to keep it within this workbook. And you can describe your a description of what you want to do in the macro. So this is my draft macro, what it does, etc. Okay. Now, if I click OK, it starts recording. Okay, so whatever you do, don't do something else. It's like right now, I'm recording a video and I want to take a picture of my dog. Can I do that? No. If I do it, it's going to be within the video. Or I want to smoke a cigarette. Sorry for that, parents. I want to drink a coffee. That's more like it. I want to drink a coffee. If I drink a coffee right now, it's going to be within the video, and we don't want that. It's going to be a mistake. So focus on what you're doing. And before creating a macro, you need to know what you want to do within the macro, so you avoid mistakes. So right now, what I want to do in this macro, I'm going to click OK. I want to go to cell H7 and write my draft macro. Okay. H7, here it is. I'm going to write my draft macro. Here it is. I'm going to go to another cell to get out of the writing mode. Then I want to select this cell, go home, increase the size of my writing. Okay. Then I want it to be written in red. Okay. Then select a cell below so that this one is not selected anymore. That's it. That's all I want my macro to do. What I'm going to do is go to the developer and stop recording before doing anything else. Okay? I'm going to stop recording. Here it is. My macro is done. Let's see if it works. I'm going to go to a new worksheet that has nothing in it. Okay? Macro, draft. So I went, excuse me, I didn't tell you where I went. You go to macros here, and it's going to give you all the macros that are recorded. I already did another one. It's okay. So draft, that's the one that I want. And it's going to run. Look here, I'm in sheet 5. I have nothing in it. It's empty. And run. Yeah, it did exactly what I asked it to do. I'm going to go to a new sheet, run it again. And here it is. So here I'm using absolute references. As you see, it always goes to H7, and that's what I asked it to do. Now, it's a little program that you created. Once you stopped recording, it's automatically in VB. All the steps, all the commands that you wanted to do, they are translated automatically to VB for you. Okay, let's look at the code. So to look at the code, you go to Visual Basic here. Okay, well, I already had another macro. That was my model 1. So normally you're going to have module 1. Okay, let's imagine it's like this. You have nothing in it. You go to modules. You click on the plus button that expands. We already know what the plus model button does. And double click on the module. Okay, I already have another one. So let's read this. Sub means subroutine. Okay, It's a routine that you're creating. Draft. That's the name of the macro that I gave. Be careful with the name of the macros. If you add a space, it might not accept it, so you have to, well, I'm going to show you this later. Okay, the name of the macro, the description that I've written, you see here, it's apostrophe. It means this is, and it's written in green. That means this is not taken into consideration. It's just nothing for the computer. This is for you, okay? Whenever you see an apostrophe, it's like a comment. It means nothing for the computer. Here, the first thing is range H7 select. So this is what I did. I went to cell H7 and I selected it. Then within that cell, the active cell, formula row 1, column 1, that means within that cell that I selected, write, and it's between quotes, my draft macro. Then go to H7. Why did I do that? I don't recall. Select H7. Oh, because I went out and back. Then you see here, selection font size 12. I went from 11 to 12, then to 14, then to 16, then to 18, then 20, then 22, then 24. Okay? Now with this selection, I chose color, this color. Each color has a numerical value, okay, for the computer. I don't care because this is the red that I chose. No tint, no shade, no nothing. Okay, this comes automatically with the selection. And width, this is done automatically for you. And then I went to select H8, the cell below. Okay. Now, do you see how I'm giving the computer the command to go to 12, 14, 16, 18? This is useless. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to delete all this because it's useless. Yes, you can modify the code. Here it is. I have this line that I don't need. Oops. Here it is. And this is my macro now. I'm going to close it. It's going to automatically save the changes. Here it is. Let's see if with my changes my macro still works. Macro, draft macro, execute. Yay, it works. Okay. Now you see how I go always to Visual Basic, macro, look at the macro I want, execute, again and again whenever I need it. What I can do is create a button for it if I need it in the same worksheet. So I'm going to come to this sheet so that you see it. Well, in another example, in the last exercise we're going to do, you're going to see the use of the buttons. So now I'm going to come here. I'm in creation mode. I'm going to insert a button. Okay, do you see it here? Insert. I'm still in the developer, okay? Insert, and I'm going to take this button here. Okay? And I'm going to design it. Don't do this while you're recording. If you do it while you're recording, it's going to create like 400 something buttons and you won't be able to delete them. So you're going to have to delete the whole worksheet. Okay? Be careful with that. So I'm designing it here. And now it tells me, what is the macro you want? Okay, I want this draft macro. That's the one I want. Okay, now I'm going to give it a label. Run. So once you click on this button, it's going to run draft macro. Don't worry. All this is you're going to do it in the hands-on. Okay, let's click on it. You see? It's a button, a real one. We created it. Okay, run. Here it is. My macro is done. Okay, let me delete this again. Oops, what am I doing? Select all these lines. Delete. Put the size of this one as it was. And let's run it again, just for fun. Yay! Oops. Oops, didn't run as well as before because it didn't change the size. Anyway, okay. Now I don't like this macro, so I want to delete it. I'm going to go to VB. First, I'm going to delete this button. So to select the button, if you click on it, it's going to run, okay? So to select it, you right click and just cut. Bye-bye button. Now, Visual Basic. This is my my macro. Remember, it starts at sub and it ends with end sub. So this is subroutine start and end subroutine, and that's where it ends. Well, bye-bye. I'm gonna close. Let's see if I have it now. No more draft macro. I deleted it. Okay, guys? So I'm gonna delete all these. Where am I? I'm gonna delete from sheet 4 to sheet 8, please. Delete. Supprimer. Okay, I'm back with the macro that I already created. Hello, dear students. This is my first macro. Notice how when I run it, it always goes to the same cells. It is using absolute references. Whatever I'm doing is being automatically recorded, so I don't do anything else don't do anything else while you are recording a macro. Okay, I'll stop the text here and format a bit. So I created this macro earlier. So I'm going to sheet 3 and let's run the macro. Macro, my first macro, execute, and here it is. It's actually blue, but you don't see it on the phone. I don't see it blue in my phone. I don't know why. Color problems, but it is written in blue. So let's go look at Visual Basic here. I'm going to Visual Basic, Module 1, and this is my first macro. So what I want to do is this and this. I already did this before. So go to cell D5, select it. In this cell, write hello, dear students. Then go to D7, and within D7, that's active cell formula R1C1, row 1. What you're going to write, the formula you're going to write in row 1, column 1. That's what it means, which is your active cell. This is my first macro. Go to D9, select it, and write notice blah, blah, blah. Go to E11 and write this. You got the idea? Now go to F14, write this, and then select from D5 to I16. So I selected all these cells, a whole range, and put it italic. So selection font, italic, true. Okay? Then with this font, please change the color to blue. I told you it was blue, even though you don't see it. Tint and change shade 0. And width, this comes automatically. Okay? Selection font, the name is Calibri, the size is 16. I can change it here if I want. I can change the Calibri here 2 times New Roman if I want. Strike through, no. Superscript, no. Blah, blah, blah. This all comes automatically with your selection. Okay? Then go to F13, select F13, and then this column F, I increased its width, this one here, okay? Then with selection, I went to put it vertical alignment. I didn't do that, actually. Yes, I did. I asked the computer to wrap the text, okay? Wrap text, true. The rest came automatically. Yeah, so that you see the whole text in the cell. What else? What else? Then I went to B2 and selected it, and I ended it. Okay? So now what I'm going to do, this is, I can change anything I want here, but of course, for example, end with, whatever is in blue, you cannot change it. That's with selection and with. You can delete the whole thing, but you cannot, for example, take off and with, because the computer is going to look for it in order to stop the with. Okay? So here, what I want to do, actually, it's instead of saying hello, students, I want the computer to ask me, what do you want to write in this cell? Okay? So that's a little thing I'm gonna show you how to write, how to do. This, I want here for the computer to create an input box, and then whatever I write in it, it writes. I'm gonna show it to you. So input box, it's one word. I'm gonna open the parenthesis, and then I'm gonna write a message here. Okay? In the first one, please enter your name, or the message you want. Please enter the message you want. And here the computer doesn't understand what I'm writing. You see, this is for humans. Then after the quote, I'm going to close the parenthesis. Let's close. By closing, it automatically runs. And let's go to a new sheet to run the macro. And look what's going to happen here. Macro, my first macro, execute, which is run for you. And it tells me, it gives me my message. Please enter the message you want. Okay, I'm going to write, do your homework. Your homework. Okay. And here it writes, do your homework. I'm going to go run it again. Run macro. My first macro. Execute. Be nice to each other. To each other. Each other, one word, two words. Be nice. You know me, when I don't know how to spell, I just stop. Together, it's one word. Each other, it's two words. I don't care. Be nice and stay home. Okay, let's run it. So you see that whatever you write in the input box goes automatically into the cell within the macro. Okay? So, I'm going to stop here. No, I'm going to add one little thing that you need to see. So I'm going to go to another sheet and record a new macro to show you the difference between relative references and absolute references within the macro. Okay? Record new macro. Now I'm going to call it relative reference. Let's see if it accepts this name. I don't think so, because I have a space. This within this workbook, okay? You see here, the name of the macro is not valid. The name ne commence pas par une lettre ou un trait de soulignement. Okay, so no. It cannot contain a space or other non-valid characters, and it cannot conflict with a name that is already predefined for something within Excel. Okay, so no spaces. Now you understand why I never put the spaces in names. Okay, relative ref. That's the name of the macro. Okay, so here I'm going to ask the computer to use relative references. Okay, so now I'm going to go to cell G and write in G1. Okay, Then I'm going to go to another cell. Do you see here? 3 spaces later, 2 cells later, and write I'm in G1. Okay? Then I'm going to come here, and I'm going to write, you see that I'm writing where I am. I'm in H9. Okay. And then I'm going to select a cell below and stop recording. Okay? Now, this is an on and off button. Okay? So when it's orange, that means it's selected, it's on, it means you're using relative references. If it's unselected, like I had before, it's using absolute references. Let's see if my macro works. So I'm going to delete all this. Be in A1 as I was, and it's going to run exactly in the same place. Relative references, execute. It's exactly what you saw before. Now I'm going to run it while I'm in another cell. Let me be in this cell, C13, and let's run the macro. Relative references. Oh, you see what happened? It's no longer G1. Yeah, it's no longer G1, and it's no longer H1. So in a relative reference, it depends on where you are when you're executing it, and it's going to run it according to the place you are. So I'm in here. So if I'm in A1, it's going to go to D1, G1, and H9. But if I'm in B1, it's no longer going to go to D1, it's going to go to E1. Okay, so according to where you are, let's do it from B1. I'm in B1, and I'm running the macro. Relative reference. So it went 2 cells, and then in the third one, it wrote the thingy, and then continued with the macro. Did you get the point? Let me run it now from B2. So it's going to go 2 cells and then starts running according to what we did. Relative reference. And here we go. You see? From B2, moved here, then moved 2 cells here, and then moved here. You got the point? So sometimes you need absolute references, and sometimes you need relative references. You already know the difference between the two. And so it depends on the macro you're creating. Okay? It depends on what you want. So be careful with this one. Now, sometimes when you want to run the macro, the computer doesn't want to run it. You need, it gives you a security alert. So just click on option and enable this content. You have I don't have it here because I don't have that security problem. You have it in page, let me see where they show it to you. It's in page 564, okay, in the book. Okay, I think I did all the introductory things. No, something very important that I forgot to mention. We're going to do it now. Now, when you save, I already saved it as, no, I'm going to create a new workbook so that you see what I mean. Do you want to? Yes, let's save it. I'm going to create, hi, Daddy. Oh, come on. Okay, let me go to Excel, a new workbook. Okay. Okay, I have the developer tab because I already created it earlier. Remember, if you don't have it, you go to Start, Options, Excel Options, and make sure this one is on, okay? Show developer in the ribbon. Okay, now I'm gonna record a new macro. And I'm gonna call it macro 1 because I don't care. Macro 1 by default, that's the name that comes. Okay, and what am I gonna do with it? It's write this and this. I don't care. Okay, stop recording. Let's see if my macro works. Macro, run macro 1. Yes, it works. Everything is fine. Now I'm gonna save my workbook. Save it, Excel workbook. Excel workbook, save, click. It gives me this message because I have macros, but I'm gonna I don't read whatever it gives me. I'm just gonna say yes. Okay, where did I save it? I don't know. Okay, I'm gonna close this. Okay, close this. I'm gonna go to open the file that I just created. Recent. Oops. Book 1. No. Classeur 1. Here it is. Okay. You see it? It's the same document. Okay. Let me try to run the macro now. Macro. Oops. Where did it go? Do you see the problem? In order to have your macro within the workbook, you need to allow to say to the computer, this is a macro-enabled workbook, which I didn't do. And it creates lots of problems. My macro disappeared. Okay, I'm going to create a new macro now. Macro 1, because the other one disappeared. Okay. Well, I'm in a new workbook anyway. I'm going to come here, write whatever. I don't care. Okay. Stop recording. And now when you save, you need to save as, do you see here? Macro enabled workbook. Otherwise, you lose your macro. Okay. Macro enabled workbook. Do you see the extension? It changed from XLSX to XLS macro. So Excel with macro. Macro enabled. I'm going to save it. It's within my documents, but where? Normally I put it in webinar. Okay. I'm going to keep this name because I'm going to delete this file anyway. Right. Save. Now I'm going to close. And I'm going to go to my files. No, why did I do this? Sorry, guys. My dog is biting herself. So, open. And I'm going to go to webinars. Sorry. Here. And I want you to look at the icon here. Do you see it? The icon is not the same. Let me put big icon. Okay. Do you see it here? See the other workbooks I have? And this one. This one has this little thingy with the black apostrophe. Not apostrophe, exclamation mark in it. Okay? This means it's Gaia, stop. This means it's a macro-enabled workbook. A workbook that allows macros. Okay, let's open it. And now you're going to see that my macro is here. You see it? Let me go to another worksheet and run it. And here it is. Okay, guys? I hope you understood this. Now what you're going to do is go do hands-on exercise 3, page 567. My dog. Gaia, arrête, please. Okay, you're going to do hands-on exercise 3, page 567. Good luck. And we're still having one last class where we're going to use the macros with the advanced filter. Good luck, guys. Love you. Bye.